There we go. This is what happens when I reboot my computer. I need to reload my audio profile. I forgot to. Thank you. Good catch. So yeah, hi. Welcome back. Good to see you again. I was just trying to figure out where I left things last time. I know we were working on the, Ooh. How did that happen? 1 second. You can see a picture of my IDE, but I can't, because that's just a cached image in my OBS. It was actually closed. Let's reopen. There we go. Okay. We had started trying to work on this, and we were having trouble with the spin stabilization, is what I recall. So this is something that I definitely want to put some more time into, obviously, because it's the next big milestone contract. But I also just want to keep flying. Yeah, too much physics. Yeah, there's something with the Principia that causes Procession to really go crazy, so I think we can still spin stabilize the upper stage, but it actually has to be stable. Which means that trying to stage when we've lost control is no good, because usually the rocket is pitching, and that's what leads to the Procession. So I think if we add RCS, we can stabilize the booster stage before we fire the second stage, and fingers crossed that that's good enough to get it stable-ish. You know, the other option is, depending on how low in the atmosphere we are, we could rely on tilted fins for it to spin itself up, but I think we're too high in the atmosphere for that. I don't think it's going to have enough control. Stuff to think about. But for now, I was just checking if this has... Let's see, how much... Highly pressurized, utilization, tank UI. Okay, this has 45 sounding payload in it. So let's see if with 75 this design can hit 120. I don't remember if it can with the Zasser 1. We might need an upgrade to some parts, but if we can hit the you think it was getting pretty thin to have this get that high? Okay. Yeah, I don't remember, and I didn't take notes, so it's all gone from my brain. But it's quick enough to do a quick test. Oh, the atmosphere for the fins. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant the thrust, the the margins on getting this thing high enough for the contract. Oh, it's so beautiful. Every time. I know that this is the simplest rocket I've built, but it's still, and the simplest script, but it's still really cool to see it every time. Zoom out so there's a little less background noise. So yeah, I'm hopeful that if we add RCS to that stage, we can stabilize the first stage and spin up the second stage with a slower rate of spin, because it really doesn't need to be spinning incredibly fast to be stable. And this is gonna hit 115. All right, not quite high enough with the current capabilities of this rocket, so we're gonna need an upgrade before we can launch this one. what else do I have going on? Reconditioning. Okay. We are launching a couple of wacky errors. Do I remember what those are for? Are those just gathering science? Oh, that's this. Okay. Wait, are you identical? What are you? XASR1. Only 35 units of sounding payload in this. Interesting. I don't... Maybe those aren't for a mission. Did I just queue those up so I could get science for them? I might have just queued those up so I could get science from them. And they're purely... Even though I can't hit this contract threshold. I can hit this one pretty easily, and I could certainly hit this one. Especially if I got rid of return capsules. Low space film return, 200 kilometers and 600 downrange, and I think we looked at this one and we needed some more tech as well. So let's play with right. Catapult was what I called it. So this, in theory, what engine is on this right now? Okay, the NA75, which I don't think I've unlocked yet. And this is going to be the XASR... Did I switch this to the XASR2? I did. Okay. So that's all fine. What I want to add to this system... Where's command and control? Somewhere in here there are... Where's RCS build aid? That's what I want. Markers... Dry center of mass is all I care about. So in theory there, but I actually want these to have pitch control. So either end would be fine as far as giving it pitch control. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just put it up here. My RCS tech is not great, though. Current config is nitrogen. I should check research and see what I can start thinking about getting. But I think for now, the helium has a much better ISP. Nitrogen has better thrust. In theory, we only need a little bit, so I'm gonna go with the nitrogen for now. And I wanted to put on a little tank. 1.875. NQI. Where is nitrogen? Oh, does this have to be a service tank? It might have to be a service. Oh, look. Now I can fill it. All right. And that is a lot of nitrogen. Let's go down to like 0.2 meters and see if that's enough. Yeah, that was a lot of nitrogen. Even this is probably a lot of nitrogen scaled down. But yeah, 55. Yeah, how heavy is this? What number am I looking for? 15 tons? Yeah, we probably don't need that much nitrogen. Yeah, I guess it's about the same either way. Let's see what it does. Okay, and then these are going to want to not fire sideways. These only fire forward. And then I'm going to need to figure out the code for this thing. So off we go to code land. I'll save this before I go over to the other view. Okay. So I think... yeah. That's what I was gonna want. Because we want to get into... where is it? Not gonna be under here. Yeah. Because we could just set flight control roll and it should spin up. Vector containing... yeah, that's not what we want. Okay. Yep. So yeah, we're going to be going up to lock steering to target pitch. Oh, that's fine. What I want to get is... can I get the ship's heading? Probably. Yeah, I need to unlock before using raw control. I was wondering if I could... yeah, we unlock steering, and then we're going to do something like set ship control roll to... and that's fine. But we do still need to manage our pitch, right? And I'm not sure if we're going to be able to... yeah, but we're going to have a little bit of a... probably a little bit of leftover angular momentum from it pitching over during its ascent, plus gravity effects and things like that that are going to add pitch. So ideally, what I want... We did try to do that, yeah. We can see if it's stable enough. The other thing... Yeah, it doesn't take a lot of that excess angular momentum for the Kraken to go wild. And I find... No, that's maneuver nodes. Structures. Vessel. Yeah, it's an orbitable, I think, is what I want. Which has a velocity. What I want is, like, our angular velocity. Body angular velocity. Alright. No. I don't want body. Vessel angular vel. Here we go. Okay. About its axis. Ship raw orientation. Okay. So what I'm worried I'm actually going to need to do Yeah. It's not actually a link in this page on the dock. I should send a... Here it is, ship raw. Yeah, I've read through this and have a vague idea of how it works. Which the origin point is the ship. Yeah. So the angular velocity is in what I would expect it to be in, which is relative to the way the ship is currently pointing. That's fine. So in theory, what we want to do here is set up a PID loop, right? Where we want to be... we want to null the pitch and the yaw, and we want our roll to our desired roll. And this actually works out fine because the thing that we're controlling is with... I think if I set up the controls on the RCS right, it should be... that will stink with input mixing. Yeah, that will. As we roll... the angular momentum will... Yeah, it's doable but nasty. You're right. Unfortunately, it is kind of what we want. Yeah. You know what? I want to try... something silly. If we just don't unlock steering, but instead on engine flameout, we just enable RCS. This isn't what I want. It's RCS parts. System? Okay, I can just do RCS on. Okay. I'm gonna try something really stupid before I even spin up. And that is this. So we currently have no spin at all, and this should fail. But what it should do is stabilize itself once it's at engine flameout. Well, all I'm doing is turning on RCS so that the cooked control will take over with RCS, right? Engine flameout goes, now RCS has pitch control. Because my pitch angle is based on fuel amount, not altitude, it should stabilize. And I should probably wait until stable somehow. But this should work. It should do something. If we just don't spin stabilize it and see what the physics engine does with us, because yeah, that might be just wait until angular velocity magnitude is low enough. I'm gonna let's just see what this does. I also can probably figure out how to make it not do that silly roll at launch time. If I, yeah, because what this is going to do is it's going to turn RCS on. All right, good to know. I was hoping I could just like copy the existing roll inside my cooked roll or inside my steering block function, but all right. So this is gonna burn out, yeah. And it didn't fire? Oh, that's on a separate stage. Oh! Ha! Of course! No, it crashed. It lost the engine, so it can't check the fuel capacity anymore. So we have to unlock that before we stage. Okay. That's fine. So we need to lock the steering to a new function. Oh, nope. You're just gonna revert. Okay, so that's fine. Here we want to, like, lock steering to lock pitch, right? Really, I want to lock steering to our current... Yeah. Right? Instead of lock steering, it's unlock steering, SAS on. Wait until ship, angular vel, mag. I don't know if SAS versus the KOS cooked controls are going to be more stable. The other thing that I could do is just get the ship heading and lock steering to the ship heading, right? Is heading a thing in this? Is that what I'm looking for? Yeah. Will that do what I want? That'll crash if I try to lock steering to vessel heading. Oh, it's a scalar. You're right. Sorry, I wasn't looking closely. Okay, so I need... Is it facing, then? Is that what I want? Assuming it's in the right coordinate system. Facing. The way the vessel is pointed would transform a vector from a coordinate space Yeah, this might be in the wrong coordinate space. But there's really only one way to find out. Yeah. The world's ship raw coordinates. So is it the inverse of what I want? Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna try it. If the ship starts tumbling out of control, then I know that it's not the right. Did I save this before I loaded? We'll find out. Oh, that's right. I should, Oh. Yeah, I should remember that there are debug functions, and that would help a lot with trying to figure out the spaces of some of these things. And then we expect this to... yeah. I should probably be debug printing the angular velocity magnitude as well. Yeah, this should be mostly stabilized at this point. Boop! Boop! Oh, I did vessel facing instead of ship facing. Try that again. Oh, and it didn't like this one either. Oh. I just realized there was something else it might not have liked. Alright, let's see if this does what I want it to do. We never turn SAS on. It is definitely off. I replaced the SAS on with the lock steering to facing. I decided I trust KOS more than the built-in SAS. Whether that's good or not, I'm not sure, but... yeah, it pitches over. Okay. That's what I was afraid of. And I just reverted to launch, didn't I? It's not set to spin up right now. I didn't get the code in there to do that. I was just seeing if it would be stable enough without the spinning. It is not. So let's get the spin motors again. Or actually, I should just pitch these ones. Yeah, it needs to be... And I'm not sure that we can ever get this to work right with Principia. Spin stabilization is weird in Principia, and I know that. But there's definitely some... ship closer to the middle so I can go around it while I'm thinking. Like, in theory, it shouldn't need to be spinning that quickly. Like, what was... What was, like, Explorer 1's spin rate? It wasn't that fast. Okay, 750 RPM for Explorer 1. So maybe we do need to, You know what? Let's try it. Get this thing back straight. Let's go back into the code. So, we wait until we're stable. Set. No. Oh, I do have SAS on. That's wrong. How does cooked and raw actually interact in... They mustn't. Okay. That's what I was afraid of. Okay. So if we go back to unlock steering, RCS on, set ship control roll to 1.0, wait until ship angular vel mag is greater than all right, Wolfram Alpha, this is where you shine. What is 750 RPM to radians per second? 78.5. All right. Greater than 75 radians per second. Sure. What could possibly go wrong with any of this script? It's funny that RPM and radians per second end up being so close to a factor of 10 away from each other. I mean, I guess you have pi radians per second, and then... yeah. Yeah, the thing that I'm unsure about is whether we'll be able to manage our pitch and our yaw, and if this ship will start precessing even in its current state before we launch the... I think it specifically says that that one is in radians. Yeah, it is in the docks here while that's launching. Unlike most other parts, that is way too loud. Unlike... yeah, express and radians. Ah, there we go. Okay, cool. Let's see what this does. So this should RCS on and start spinning itself up. The question is, will we have to have it try to manage its pitch and its yaw or not? And I might be able to use some really, really primitive control loops for the pitch and yaw if I have to. But so that the time frame gets shorter, yeah. Oh, this is trying to use RCS for thrust. I need to turn that off. And we definitely need stronger RCS engines. It doesn't look like it's processing, though, and that's good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I need to fix this so it's not using RCS for forward thrust, obviously, and I probably need bigger engines. And I could probably get away with just using single direction RCS instead of quads, because if we don't need to pitch, we don't need to pitch. I'm looking at our angle on the nav ball, and it seems really, really stable. Yeah, okay. This might work. This might actually work. Okay. Let's get rid of these quads, and instead... just use... modular RCS and figure it out from there. Yeah, use the 2 ways, that's fine. Oh, can I do a 1-way roll? Is that a thing? No. Okay. There we go. Actually, you know what? Bring the scale down a little bit, because they're a little big. I don't hate those, actually. I mean, I could, but I like playing with it and trying to make it look good. Yeah, nitrogen. Everything else is more... I don't think I have unlocked. Oh, I meant to do that. Let's look at science real quick and see what our thruster options are. Like, what it takes to get, like, HTP or nitrous oxide or something like that. This early flight control. Oh, 1 second. Yeah, early flight control, I think, is what I need for most of those things. Actually, not entirely sure. Some of them I think I can just unlock right now. But if I had the money at any rate. I think I burned through most of my unlock credit. But for testing purposes, I guess I could say... HTP... hydrazine... HTP's not bad. Hydrazine has better ISP, of course. Here we go. This tells me 56 to 57 orbital rocketry, early docking. Okay, so it'll be the 56 to 57 orbital rocketry that'll get me nitrous oxide. That's probably later than I want to wait, so we're sticking with nitrogen. Okay. supposedly these are in the 128-323 class, although I'm not sure how much... It'll automatically include it all when I switch the fuel tank over. So if I do switch it, like if I pick nitrous, I would want to, remove the tanks here and then fill with the nitrous oxide. And this should work, but again, we're not going to have that tech until... That's the orbital rocketry tech, and I'd prefer not to be waiting that long to get this this in the air. But we can certainly sim with it. See, how do I remove RCS from staging? Disable staging. Is that what I want? Why do I have to do this separately for all of them? Yeah, we might not get quite what we want as far as the speed. I might have to set the speed, the rotation rate lower. But I think these are a larger thruster, so they should work better. I'm not really sure how the thruster sizes are mapped into... Like, if I just grab one of these and one of these... Check the engine on this one. It is 43.3 newtons, and if I check the engine on this one, it is 8.7. Okay, so it does scale. That's what matters. And I think we have one of the bigger ones on here, right? This says 86 newtons. Okay. So RCS is disabled as an engine, so should just go on with RCS mode. Let's see what happens. And if it seems like we're not going to hit anywhere near that, 75 RPM or 750 RPM, we can, we can definitely turn down the target rotation rate if we need to. Fast forward a little bit because I don't need to care too much about the physics simulation accuracy until we get way up here in the air. Oh. I flipped the wrong toggle. I thought I disabled RCS staging. Is there a different toggle for using RCS for forward thrust than there is for having it enabled at all? Maybe. Here, I'm going to go back to the VAB. Oh, that's true. Enable staging, I guess. Oh, Can I disable staging and then enable... There we go. That's what I want. Yeah, RCS enabled, staging disabled. They're always on. And yeah, we should lock throttle to 0 at that point. Throttle. And we're gonna try, like, a fifth. We'll say get our angular velocity up to 15 radians a second, which is still, maybe not fast enough, but we will see. It's trying. Oh, I can't do it from this one because that one's running the script. Can I open a terminal for this? Yes. All right, we're up to 1.6, 1.7. Yeah, we could definitely use some more oomph. I don't know if we're even gonna get up to whatever I set it to, 15. Yeah, and we can see it does have a little bit of a pitch. Drop the first stage and then spin up. The problem is that then we're trying to carry avionics that have control in the upper stage, and they're just way too heavy for that. Okay. Well, I'm not going to sit here and wait for this. I don't know if we're getting thrusters that are big enough to be able to spin this up, unfortunately. So... Maybe, yeah. That is possible. Something else that I'm contemplating, which could be interesting, is to find the spin motors. Put them here. Because we have a lot more mass here, right? And if we go back to... Oh, I took them off. Big RCS. Modular RCS again. Oh, actually, these can be one-ways, because we just need pitch control on these. The second stage is a liquid, but it needs the solids to fire first to give it ullage. I'm wondering if this will work better because we'll have more of the mass of the ship, and we'll have... I'm actually not going to use these thrusters. I'm going to use... this. Just because it looks better. Alright. Disable staging. And maybe it doesn't matter. Alright, we want this on nitrogen, good. It's not the biggest config, but it should be enough to keep us stable. And... Right, yeah. I mean, I guess we could, right? We could separate and fire the spin motors and then fire the ullage motors, which is kind of what I'm doing here, right? It's separating the two thrust events. So we're kind of on the same page. Maybe that is the better way to do it. If I do the separation motors at... Here, let's get rid of all this. Center mass. Where's RCS BLK? We want COM, not the decom. The main computer is up top, but we lose control outside of the ability to stage, basically, once we drop the booster. So there's two computers. This is the one that's configured for full control, but this is the one up top that's actually running the program. So we can do staging events and things like that from this program, this computer. So yeah, let's try what you were saying. Engine, turn on, fire those at the same time we do this, and then fire this. All right. And if I give you a tag, oh, you know what? I can just use parts dubbed RO small spin motor. Okay. Okay, so turn off ship control low. Instead of unlock steering, we're going to go back to lock steering to ship facing, right? Because we want it to just keep a stable platform. We wait until the magnitude is less than epsilon. We stage. Now we need to wait until ship parts dubbed. What was it? RO small spin motor? Yes. How does that look to you? Oh, right. Yeah, because the upper engine still needs to fire. Oh yeah, and we don't have rear-facing RCS anymore, so it doesn't matter. It's not going to try to use it. Okay. Cool. Let's see what goes horribly wrong with this one. Whoops. Well, that didn't work. Oh, definitely Kraken, and we definitely also have fallen into an interesting shape, and we also didn't stage. God damn it. I have require signal for control on. What's interesting is that it's slowing down its... Well, maybe it's not slowing down its spin. Maybe I was just going fast the whole time. Do we have signal yet, please? Will we have signal? Where are we? Probably not gonna have signal. No. Not with this downrange. Okay, so why doesn't this work? This did stage the spin motors. Yeah. That is definitely an option. I mean, wait one. Oh, I wonder if the burn time on the spinners is less than... No, because it still would have tried to stage at some point. Let's just wait a second. Yeah, those small spinners are pretty consistent. You're right. So yeah, let's just burn for a second. I mean, I don't know what their burn time actually is. Three seconds. Okay. So we should wait those... We'll wait the whole 3 seconds of the rated burn time. Yeah, I'm fine with that. 5 seconds makes sense. And I think I'm also going to just have 2 of these. I think 4 was potentially too much. All right, so we stage and fire these at the same time. Then we fire the ullage motors, and then ignite the engine. Okay. Let us see. This does what I want it to do. And any second now. Well. Ooh. It's not as bad as it has been. It's still picked up a little, and we might be able to help some of that by turning down... Well, yeah, the Kraken's never happy. Oh, yeah, the procession is getting worse as it thrusts. But the real question is, will it stay pushing forward long enough? As long as it doesn't, like, yeah... process too wildly, and it gets getting there at the end. What is our print ship angular vel? Okay, so we're only up to 9 radians a second here. So we could maybe add those engines back and see if a faster spin rate does help. What is that? Ship angular vel Z divided by 3.14? Yeah, so 2.6, oh, signal lost. Whatever, it's 130 RPM or something like that. This is dangerously close to working. And then I think we do want to turn down that wait time from the 5 seconds to, maybe spinning less will keep the Kraken happier? Yeah. The problem is I don't fully understand what it is about Principia's physics model that makes it unhappy with these spin-stabilized rockets. I think it does have to do with, like... you know, we look at the... oh, I can't highlight. It just drags the window around. But, you know, we can see the X and Y components of our angular velocity are not zero, right? And I think that's what makes Principia unhappy. But I'm not sure how it ends up transferring energy from the Z spin to the X and Y components. Like, if faster speed makes that transfer faster, or if it's only the wobble that makes the wobble worse. I don't know. I mean, I could turn down the amount of fuel in these motors, but I mean, let's how far downrange do we make it? Is the real question. Oh, this is so close to 3 megameters, as is, even without fully solving the problem. Yeah, I mean, in the grander picture, we need this for these early, like, really far downrange missions, and that's it. So we just have to get it working well enough for, like... And we're not quite there, but we're close. Okay, so we should try basically this flight profile with higher rotation speed and lower rotation speed and see if either of those stabilize. We should decrease the wait time between the firing of the spin and the firing of the final motors, because that's definitely an issue. Here, let's just cut our fuel time in half. And... yeah, I'm actually going to tighten up that stage timing now. To 3.5. Although with half the fuel, this won't burn for the whole rated 3 seconds, so it's still going to have a little bit of a delay. But we'll see if this is better or worse with less. That is an excited launch clamp. No, that was definitely worse. Okay. Slower spin is worse. Yeah, we're almost to a flat spin here. Okay. Good to know. So, back to... full burn with more spins. Let's see if this is worse. I mean, I think really what it is you have to find the magic rotation rate where we're spinning fast enough for spin stabilization to work. But not so fast that we're hitting the Kraken, right? Where we're hitting simulation instabilities and things like that. look at that! Did we do it? That is beautiful. Let's see that. Oh, and this is almost exactly that 15 radian per second angular velocity, the 1/5 of Explorer 1. That's funny. The number that I came up with. This is beautiful. Oh, it's getting a little wobbly towards the end, but that's okay. It put almost all of its thrust exactly where I wanted it. All right. Still about the same downrange distance as the previous test, with only 2 of these engines. Even with the higher, I mean, we're a little further. Oh, yeah, we're going to make it to 2.8. Okay. Yeah. We got 50 extra kilometers out of that. We gotta tweak a couple of things still. I think, the burn time and the target angle both need to be brought in a little bit. So here, I said weight 3.5. That should just be 3. And right now we're going down to 40 degrees, and I think we want to go a little bit lower. And then hopefully this will hit that 3 megameters. I think those are the 2 tweaks. Let's see what we're looking like. Should be able to just do a revert to launch and it'll pick up the new script. Oh, we can use the RCS to re-aim. That's true. Let's see how it ends up with 45 degrees at the end. And every time I load this scene, that launch clamp is getting more and more special. I thought the dancing one was good, but the Leaning Tower of Pisa launch clamp is also chef's kiss. Yeah, that's not so bad. We're getting to 45, well out of the atmosphere still, so I think we're okay here. What did I do? Yeah. Oh, you're right. RCS is not stabilizing us. RCS is on, but I don't see it firing. Oh, we don't have roll. It's trying to stop the roll. I don't know what created a roll to begin with, but yeah. It's stabilized its pitch and its yaw, but it can't stabilize its roll. Ah. And I'm sure that if I looked... Oh. Oh, look. We could just ignore roll. Yeah. I mean, now it's just kind of going wild trying to stop pitch and yaw. I'm not sure why it started rolling in the first place, but... Yeah. Yep. I think that's reasonable. Wait until ship angular velocity X and ship angular val Y. And let's make epsilon a little bigger because it doesn't matter that much. Let's try this one. Hopefully it'll be able to null itself up enough before it fires the... Yeah, I'm not sure what induced the roll torque to begin with at that point in the flight profile. Like, there shouldn't be anything inducing roll there. But who knows what the cooked... You know, obviously it has roll control that I didn't even know it had, so, like... Oh, I could turn off the roll control of the engine as well. That's an option. I keep realizing I'm too close to the rocket and I'm shouting over it, but I think the way I have the mix set up, it shouldn't be as aggressively loud for you as it is for me. Still too loud. Alright, so it should be stabilizing here. Engine cuts out. Yep, and it stabilized itself fine. We could turn down that weight even a little further. These are going much faster than the 3 seconds that they claim they can burn for. But let's see how this does pitched over a little more. It is going to get more, well, theoretically more torque from gravity when it's pitched over more, right? So that might cause this flight profile to do some slightly different things. But hopefully... Yeah, this looks fine. Only 2.8 going down the extra 5 degrees? Oof. All right. Yeah, we might need to use the RCS to get it into a different... All right. Apparently, that is all we had to do. Yep. Which is good to know that that fixes it in Principia. Because in, you know, the normal KSP physics, you can definitely get away with... This is really aggressive. I don't love this. I'm going to try it. I'm going to see what happens with that more aggressive angle. Although I'm worried we're going to end up lower in the atmosphere, and it's just going to be like trading off a win from going more horizontal with a lose from being deeper in the atmosphere. Yeah, we're very deep in the soup when we're firing this now. Yeah, that was a very, very steep turn, I agree. Three megameters! That's all we need! All right. That is, I bet we could tweak that to get a little more breathing room on this flight. But... yeah, I didn't expect that either. That seemed like we launched the second stage way too deep in the atmosphere, and we had lost a lot of energy on that turn. I'm wondering if we bump this power up a little bit so that we go more vertical and then pitch over more aggressively towards the end. If we can get it even better, because we'll be launching higher in the air, even though we're pitched over further for the second stage. Yeah, that's true. We can take out some of the settle time now that we have RCS. Because we're waiting for ship angular vel, so we can bring this down. Yeah. I wonder if we even need this at all. Like, if we do this, will it work? Let's start with 2.0. Let's change one thing at a time. Let's get rid of the settling time and see if the RCS is enough to stabilize. And then from there, we can also bump the power a little bit to get a steeper... yeah, a steeper ascent profile. So let's start with this one. One change at a time. Definitely, we might need a more aggressive epsilon on the pitch and yaw checks before we consider ourselves stable. Because that seems like it really didn't wait, and this is starting to process quite a bit. But we'll see what it does. Yeah, there we go. That's getting dangerously close to a flat spin. Yep, there we go. We lost 500 kilometers because we weren't stable enough. Yeah, I know. I mean, I could throw another 0 in there. Because this is in radians, right? So, like... we want it, like, under a degree... Well, 0.01 was under a degree per second. I don't know. Let's try this. I'm just throwing numbers at the wall and seeing what sticks, honestly. I don't really have any intuition for any of this stuff yet. The other thing I could possibly do is put a little bit of settling time back in so that it's closer to stable. Yeah, this seems fine. And we were pretty high up when it fired, which I like to see. One megameter apoapsis is pretty good. And 2... I mean, it's better. Better than the last one. Still not hitting the 3 megameters. Let me double check the tech levels of everything that I've got on this ship and make sure that we're not, like, flinging avionics that are way heavier than we need and whatever else we can do to fix our Delta V to be a little smarter. I think this is the wrong tank. I think I realized what I was doing wrong with the right tank before. So let's fix that first things first. 1.875. Yeah. Choose tank type. Aluminum high pressure, right? That's what I'm using here. Yes. Yeah, here we go. We can make this much smaller. Yeah, I agree. I switched it back to 1.2 because we know that that worked, and then I'm going to see if I can find anything with this that I think is wrong. Where's the avionics configuration? Okay, this is avionics prototypes. Until avionics prototypes has been researched, which should be... Where's Casey? Oh, I closed it. Show management. What is our ongoing research? Okay. Yeah, we have avionics prototypes coming. Basic rocketry, early... I mean, if we wait until early materials science, then we'll definitely be able to do this, because we'll have better tanks. But I don't really want to do that. Current type, high pressure aluminum. Yeah. That's fine. We really don't need this much nitrogen, probably. We probably need like 10 kiloliters. There is almost certainly a little luck involved with the Kraken. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna try this. This is the slightly lighter nitrogen tank, which should give us a little bit of a DV bump. I didn't actually double check how much we were getting, but every little bit helps. This thing here, the XASR, rated for 40 seconds, and it's burning 48 almost, so yeah, that's about as good as we're gonna get out of that stage. Alright, let's do one more sim. I've got it back at the 1.2, so even if we get a little bit of extra DV, the flight profile should be pretty close to the successful one. I'm not going to fast forward any of this. I just want to see it do the whole thing from the beginning, and let's see what happens. If this successfully gets over 3 megameters, then this is what I think we're going to go with for this flight. Alright, that's looking good. Stabilizing. Yeah, it really does seem much happier when it has a little more time to stabilize before we launch the second stage. So I could try to tweak the thresholds for Epsilon, but I honestly think it's better to just leave it with that stabilization period and not even try. There we go, 3.125. So we did get a little extra delta V out of it, out of a couple of those tweaks. We might even hit 3.2 by the time this burns up in the atmosphere. Yeah, 3.2. Perfect. All right, I'll take it. So this is going to need a little more research before it's ready. We need the early rocketry tech. Okay. Where do I have that in my history? Oh, next. Cool. That's next, and then avionics prototypes, which I think is what I've got these avionics set to. Yeah, avionics prototypes. Okay. So we should have everything for this by 1954. Or 1954 September. That's not ideal, but we'll get there. Sputnik was 57. We might be a little bit behind Sputnik on our first satellite, unfortunately. We'll see how much we can ramp up our research more, because that is going to be our main bottleneck. But cool. This thing works, and that's what matters. What are our other missions on the list right now? These downrange distance ones we could definitely look at, but they're not really required contracts. I don't think we even have to do the rest of these low space film return contracts, but, you know, again, more reputation is always good. I wonder if we'll be able to do that with basic rocketry, but not yet avionics prototypes. How long is this tank? 5.3. Okay. Let's look at the V23. Question mark? Yeah, XLO-43 NA1, but is it still using the old avionics? Yes. Okay. So this one I'll be able to fly as soon as we get the engine tech unlocked. And I don't remember this one hit the minimum requirements for the... Sorry, I need to double check them again. There's a mod that lets you look at the mission control stuff from inside other views, and I really need to install it. 200 kilometers altitude, 600 kilometers downrange. Okay. Or just write it down. That would be like a human being thing to do. Let's see if this will hit that 2x6, and if so, I don't remember if I tested this last time. I'm sorry, I might be repeating things, but... Make sure this is set right, running the V2. 5.3, okay, so this is just the engine upgrade from the... Yeah, this is just the engine upgrade, but not the avionics upgrade. Cool. And I might have to tweak the, flight profile a little bit if it's overlofted or anything like that. But I just want to see if this will hit. If we can wrap up the camera contract. And my staging is wrong. I remember doing that last time, now that it just happened again. That suggests that we didn't test this rocket? Yeah. I actually think we did, and I tried to quickly change the staging before the KOS script launched it. But yeah, this might end up being, like, just short of being able to hit that 200 by 600 without a couple more upgrades. All right, that's a good apoapsis. That's interesting, and I'm not sure why that happened when I fast-forwarded, but I probably warped a little aggressively there. Yeah, 600. Perfect. This hits the 200 by 600. Okay. And it'll probably do it more reliably if I don't fast forward when it's so deep in the atmosphere. So I think we're going to be okay with this one. But before I can stage this one for launch, we do need that next tech. Cool. And then, as far as getting this one done, I think we also need that next tech, and we can upgrade from the Zasser to the AJ-10. I thought I had a version that did this. Wacky 3 ers? Hey, there we go. And yeah, this is set to 75. Okay. Yeah, but this also needs the tech for the engine, because this will be the bigger AJ-10. Yep. Lacks tech for early rocketry. Okay. Cool. So we have actually, as soon as we get early rocketry, we've got 2 more easy contracts, and then the avionics tech after that will get us even further. And then, yeah, these two that are coming up, I know are not going to hit any... Yeah, they're likely not going to hit any contracts or anything, but they're just available for me to get some more science, because I wanted to get a few more things queued up for orbit. Actually, I think I have everything for orbit. Basic rocketry, solid rocket engines, 56 to 57, orbital rocketry. Okay, which requires satellite era material science. And then I think early avionics is also, yeah, 56 to 58. Cool. So let's, and then right now we have some unassigned engineer, or idle engineers? Yeah. And they're idle because we don't have a rocket to fly until January of 1954. That is fine. That's expected. And then the last thing I want to check is funds. Okay. There we go. Bunch more researchers as well. Pulling in the date on some of these techs. And that's just because, again, yeah, the shape of this curve. So we've got another 2 years before we hit peak funding. So even though it says we've got 3 years of research left on this stuff, I think it's going to be faster than that, because we'll be able to keep hiring researchers as our funding increases. And also as our reputation increases, our subsidy will go up. As long as we make sure that we're flying contracts. Oof, and that reputation decay is definitely real when I go a couple of months without a flight. And as always, the rollout is complete in the middle of the night. And let's hire another 10 researchers, pull in our times even further. How many researchers do I have now? 120? All right. So this flight has no contract goals. This is purely just to get science by throwing a biocapsule in the air. All right. Because, yeah, this biological sample takes a while to get all of its science unlocked, unfortunately. We need a hover stage. Yeah. Well, at some point, we're going to have to do the first advanced biocapsule experiment, and really, to get all the science out of the advanced biocapsule, the time is so long that we're going to have to put it in orbit and figure out an early re-entry, which will be exciting. Parachutes? There we go. Perfect. Is real land or fake land? Oh, that is fake land. Cool. 3.2. A little bit more. Do we have enough science now for... Yes. No. I need 10. Okay. Unless I want to unlock plain science, which I really don't. Other thing I just saw, do I have a... Did I pick a chief scientist? Oh, I did. Yeah. Jack Parsons. We're already all set there. That's what I thought. Cool. Okay, what I wanted to try to do is... No. I want to edit this rocket, and I think I can hit the intermediate contract if I bump up the payload on this. I'm going to double check what height we can hit in the sim. But we only have to get up to 80 kilometers for the altitude sounding rocket contract, even if we can't hit the next biosample contract. And that would give us a reputation bump, which is a funding bump. And I think when we simmed this design before with 75 units, it hit 80. It just didn't make it up to the 120. Because if we can get some biosample and that other contract at the same time, I'm happy with that. Let's see what our apoapsis looks like. Yeah, we're gonna hit 80, no problem. $115. Okay. Cool. So there we go. That little tweak should be almost no change to our build and integration time. It should be pretty cheap. Yeah. Save edits. And then, out of curiosity, no, it won't hit this one. All right, reconditioning, done. Early rocketry, done. Now we can enqueue our other rockets and hope we have the subsidy that we need to buy all the engines for them. Otherwise, I'm going to be sad. Let's open a Wacky... Is that the one? Yeah, okay. If I hit launch... Oh! This needs to modify the launch complex. Okay, so we have to wait until the other rocket is done before we can do this one. But the V23... we should be able to modify LC2 for? Well, we might not even need to. You know, yeah, I can try to be creative, or I can be as humorously uncreative as possible, and I've decided to go for as humorously uncreative as possible. That's the goal. This is fully tooled, so We can... Did I already queue one up? Yeah, V23 in queued. Awesome. And then I need to wait for the wacky error to be finished and rolled out before I can update the launch complex for the wacky error. Okay. This looks right to me. How badly did I overhire researchers? A little badly. Alright, this is Sounding Rocket Intermediate, 75 payload to 80 kilometers, plus a little extra science out of it. Should be identical to the last launch, except not go quite as high. I've been trying to decide what I need my my first few proper emotes to be for the first few people that subscribe to me, and I think I've got a flying spaghetti monster that's awaiting Twitch approval, and I think worm logo, NA and S, so you can spell either NASA or ASS, are gonna be maybe the next ones that I add. I'm hoping if I add the N with it, they won't notice. And there we go. That was that contract. A little extra reputation. All right, this was exactly what I expected it to be. Nice, easy launch. A little bit of extra science, probably not a ton. Yeah, almost 3 credits. Okay. All right, 11.7. Now I actually can queue up the next materials science node. Early materials science gives me, yeah, better aluminum stuff. That's fine. And then satellite era gives me, yeah, isogrid and balloon tanks. So this is really the proper, you know, late 50s tech level that we're getting into. Right, balloon tanks as used in Atlas. And I don't actually know what the earliest ISO grid tanks were used on, rocket-wise. But yes, hexagons are the bestagons. Although most modern ISO grid tanks are actually squares, not hexagons, which is truly depressing. There used to be... Maybe they got rid of it. It's lunar comms. No, I think they got rid of it. There used to be a dedicated sample return capsule. Now, this is way too far in the future. They may have gotten rid of it in favor of having you build it yourself with the heat shield and things like that. I might have to check in the Discord about that, because I don't see the sample return capsule anymore. Oh, they also changed the film cameras with the intermediate film now that didn't exist before PH03. So yeah, there's been a bunch of changes to the early satellite science era. Okay, cool. I'm fine with that. That's new stuff that I don't know by heart. And that works for me. Okay, this needs to finish reconditioning, and then I can set it to be upgraded. All right, modify LC1. All right, I just have to wait for that to finish. I definitely want to get that downrange flight launched. Today, and I need to decide what other well, we'll have to see if it can hit the next stage of this contract once we launch a wacky error. If we can hit this contract, then we will need to, or if we can't hit the next stage, that's fine. This is the next one that we're going to need to work on, which has to get pretty high and has not just altitude, but also velocity requirements and lots of other things. We may be able to do something with our 2,200 meters a second above 140 kilometers. Can the V23 already do this? Can we just take the camera off and put a... Maybe. The answer is maybe. I'll have to play with that. But I don't want to necessarily finish that program yet, right? Like, even if I can finish it now, it's giving me money. And all that finishing it would do would free up the slot to grab the next thingy. Sorry, brain fart. The next program that I want, which it may not realistically be time for yet. All right, we don't have decoupler. Let's grab the actual fairings. Bring the height of this way down. Okay, and then I just need to apply settings a couple of times. I want to see if this hits our requirements for the advanced biological capsule mission. Just launching as is, exact same script, exact same avionics, nothing else changed.
Space! Space!
Machiavelli! Welcome, welcome! Thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, KOS is the computer program, so I am, Oh, whoops, this is the middle of the night for this launch. I forgot to jump to morning. But I'm not flying anything by hand. I'm writing programs to do everything. So staging, ascent profiles, all of it is done with KOS scripts. Which has largely been a trial and error process. I have not been using any templates. I am doing it all myself with the KOS docs and what I know as a programmer. There are some templates available, some examples. There's an example repository linked from the KOS docs. What is our surface velocity here? 2,600 meters a second. And we needed 2.2 for the contract. So I think this will do what I need it to do. Yes, having a chat rubber duck helps a lot. It's very appreciated. I run a lot of simulations so that hopefully by the time I actually launch my RP-1 or my real flight, it will not be wrongly configured, but I have... if I mess something up or if a script goes wrong because of a situation I haven't handled, I am going to accept that that was the situation. But so far it hasn't happened. Alright, we're good. We have hit... Yeah, over 140, 2.2 kilometers a second. I think this will hit the advanced biocapsule contract. And if I'm lucky, the parachute will even work. What did I set this parachute threshold to? Is it 1,000? Did I mess up my staging? Oh, I messed up my staging. Okay, that's fine. And this is why I run simulations. Pretty low, but not that low. Yeah, and I'll warp today. Oh no, it is set to be armed. Okay. Yeah, 1,500 it should have gone off at. Oh! I think I lost battery. And yeah, I'll, one second. I'll save this as a B2 bio. I warp today from in here? No. And yeah, usually I'm simming. I have already warped today because it's right after another launch. So I didn't even think about it before. That's what I thought, is once it stages it, we don't need power for the capsule. Or for the parachute, rather. But maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe with this configuration, it can't get power? Like, power's not being passed through? That wouldn't make sense. I don't know. I mean, I could definitely add more power, like, see if that does what we need. Okay, we should be... Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do. That's kind of what the point of the scripting everything is to make it as much like flying real rockets as possible. Alright, and the parachute should be armed. Yeah, it's blue. Yeah, I'm looking forward to my first lunar probes and the automation those are going to need to make them work right. That'll be exciting. Now, why didn't this parachute deploy last time? Oh. We have another few kilometers to go here. do. All right. Okay, it deployed this time. So apparently we do need power to deploy the chutes? Not sure. But it's working, and that's what matters. It would be realistic, but I thought that we proved to ourselves last time that we could get away without having power as long as it was armed beforehand. Either way, this will finish the advanced bio contract, which would unlock satellites, but I'm really not ready for satellites yet. So, I'm going to keep this one in my back pocket and know that I don't have to retool anything for it, and I can launch it whenever I feel like it. Yeah. I mean, both of these will give me... It is not a joke. It is the very, very serious acronym of the Aeronautics and Space Society. Why did I go into here? I don't think I actually have to build another rocket. I think I've got everything going that I need for the next few launches. Yeah, next low space film return is going to go on the V23. That's ready. Low space bio is waiting for LC1 to be upgraded, and then we're ready for that to go. Advanced bio I can do at any time. Downrange milestone, we're just waiting for the avionics tech. And then we should be able to do this with the one that we were testing earlier. So I think I've got most of my, milestone-y contracts ready to go. And... why was it stopped? Oh, good. Ouch. We're broke again. Yep. I hired too many researchers. Yeah, no, this is getting through at seconds per click. I'm gonna have to fire some researchers, unfortunately. Ooh, that's a lot of researchers. That was unfortunate. Yeah, I think I hired all those researchers when I wasn't building rockets or anything. So as soon as I had the launch complexes actually in use, my budget got sad. That was entirely my fault. Oh, we're on the wrong launch complex. Make sure that this is tooled, and it's not. All right. Yeah, okay, apparently the launch complex, Oh, did I not actually launch that rocket? I thought I hit launch after I redid the tooling. Launch. Not enough. Oh! Yep, we're still broke. Fortunately, I think I only need to skip ahead, like, a day. There we go. Now it should let me. It costs 80, and it said I have 80, but there's some decimal points in there. Oh no, this costs 212. Oh, this thing's expensive. I didn't realize how expensive this had gotten. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to skip ahead a little further. Let's see. There's a button for this. Warp to fun target. The IRS always comes for the decimal points. And we launch you now. Added this rocket. Okay. All right, with everyone running... See, this is why I'm surprised. I had to fire so many researchers to be, budget positive again. But I guess with, I guess the launch complex changes were more expensive than I realized. I didn't take the contract. This might not count as launching a new vessel. I might have to roll it back and roll it back out. In fact, I know I need to. How do I do the rollback? I don't remember. Yeah, I wish. Maybe I could just do the recovery. It does a rollback. You know what? I'm gonna do a quick save. Sure, call it quick save. I don't care. Let's just see if this works. I don't think this counts as a new vessel because it was already rolled out, but I'm gonna double check. I don't mind quick saving around double checking weird in-game. Yeah, this doesn't count as a new vessel. Okay, that's what I thought. So the question is, how do I roll it back? I'm trying to remember how to do that. If I just hit recover... Nope, well, that got me my funds back. That's not what I wanted to do. I know there's a way to roll back. I just don't remember what it is. The UI has changed on me. Is it under... Integration? No. Launch Complex 2. Launchpad. Do I need to do it from the flight view? Which is going to be terrible because this thing is going to try to fly as soon as I enter the flight view. I might have to recover it and build a new one, which is... Well... RP-1. No, not on this view. KCT. Recover active vessel to warehouse. Yeah, and I'm worried that we're gonna lose our engine ignition now. Nope. It seems okay with that. Okay, recover active vessel. As long as it's happy with reigniting the engine, I'm happy. Alright, so we gotta recover it, and then we're gonna have to roll it back out. Soviet matchstick ignition, yeah. No need for any T-Teb to be refueled. Yeah, and this counts as a new vessel now. Perfect. My staging is right. Oh. Is the script even running? You know what? Yeah, the script is running. I don't know. I give up. I'm going to recover the vessel, and I'm just going to build a new one, because I don't want to spend any more time messing around with it. Yeah, we should add more messages to that script. I added more debug prints to the one for the downrange contract, but I didn't add them to this design. Alright, and now I need to get rid of this contract, because it's not going to be the next flight that flies. Next one that flies is a wackier. Alright. So that's going to be this low space experimentation. Ooh, late evening launch. Alright. This one should be pretty straightforward, as just an upgraded version of the previous biocapsule missions. Yeah, this just has to hit 120 kilometers with these 75 units of payload, which it should do no problem. This, I think, will probably hit space, if I remember correctly. I think it'll hit 140. Maybe not. Oh, yeah, there we go. 160, 170, 180. Yeah. Perfect. Because of KSP's physics model is the answer. 100 is where they want you to hit for most of the contracts that mention going to space. But 140 is the line where the biome changes from high atmosphere to space because of how KSP models atmosphere, and like they don't want you to be in a stable orbit at 100, right? They want you to have to be a little higher. So it's just weird that way. No. If KSP could model atmospheric drag when you're on rails, then like you could do more interesting things with that range, right? Of like Carmen line up to. Whoops. I fast forwarded that way faster than I meant to once we were in orbit or above the line. We just skipped that whole space part of the space flight. And all we have to do is return home safely. Cool. And then this same rocket can probably achieve the next bio contract and maybe the next intermediate altitude contract as well. All right. And let's check what the next contracts are. Yeah. Intermediate wants... Oh, 75 to 8. Oh, did I not? I thought I did this contract. Can I do difficult? I mean... It arguably has some lifting body-ish behavior to it. Arguably. Okay, this wants 115 units up to 140 kilometers. This rocket can do that easily. It can also do, I think, this, 75 to 130 kilometers. So we should do both of those. And then... Yeah. So I'll queue up one more exactly as is with the 75 units of payload, and I will set another one up for the 115 for this contract. We've still got the slow space one. I'm just trying to fill the time with launches until we get avionics prototypes so we can do the 3 kilometer launch. We need early science done before we can do the... Okay. the advanced biological capsule launch as well. We don't necessarily need basic solids. I think we're going to need basic rocketry before we can do... or at least early materials science for the better... what am I trying to say? Let me go back in here. Words are hard. Early materials science gives us the upgraded aluminum tanks, which are a little bit lighter. Which is going to be huge for hitting... After the 3 megameter contract, we have a 5 megameter contract. And that is most of the way to orbit at that point. So we really need to be thinking about an orbital rocket at that scale. So, like, basic solids, these aren't really helping us in that mission, right? I mean, yeah, I could recreate Nike Aerobee, but it's not helpful, I don't think, in our current goals. Basic rocketry, on the other hand, gets us... yeah, a better configuration on the Redstone engine. Really, that's it. And the LR-89. Which is a more expensive upgrade, I think, than the Redstone engine, but is a better... I mean, really, we want the LR-79, and I think that's at this stage. A-10. Yeah, LR-79 is orbital rockets. And this is the engine used on Thor, which, if we wanted to build a more accurate normal engine, or normal single-stack rocket, we would use the Thor engine over the Atlas engines. Although I'm curious if I'm going to use KOS to script my orbital insertion instead of MacJeb. I should be able to handle the 1.5-stage Atlas. I know MacJeb gets confused if you build a traditional Atlas, because it doesn't know when to stage, because it worries about, you know, fuel in stages and things like that, but I think we could do a 1.5-stage Atlas with KOS, and that would be super cool. It would probably be a stream unto itself, like several hours of debugging the code to get it to work, but that would be cool. Anyway, early materials science and basic rocketry is probably going to be enough to get us to 5 megameters, I hope. Because this gets us a much lighter upper stage and payload. Yeah, orbital insertion isn't that hard unless you need it to be super precise. And spoiler alert, the first few satellites do not need to be super precise. We will have some, and I can look at the contracts. If I find early satellite, first artificial satellite, yeah, this just wants any periapsis above 150 kilometers. First scientific satellite is a little... well, it wants a highly eccentric orbit, but... yeah, we don't even need to worry about getting them within a few kilometers of each other for circular. This is literally just any orbit for first satellite. And first scientific satellite needs eccentricity, but, like, the range that the periapsis can be in is pretty wide, and the apoapse can be way up there. So I think we're going to be okay, and we could definitely start with this contract, right? Normally when I've done RP-1, I've preferred to do both of the satellite contracts simultaneously. But I don't have to do that. We can practice. We could do a satellite launch and then do first scientific satellite. Yeah, we might need the tracking station upgrade. If we're gonna... How much does that cost? Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted the right mouse button. I might need a tech for the first tracking station upgrade. So we might have to rely on fairly imprecise orbital insertions early on before we can start thinking about using velocity at and things like that. Upgrade 50,000 and requires lunar range communications. Okay, so yeah, we might stuff that's gated on tracking station upgrades in KOS. We are not going to have for our early satellite launches. We're going to have to do them with more primitive algorithms. Okay, but that's fine. I'm not too worried about, you know, the first orbital insertion. That stuff will be relatively straight. I say relatively straightforward. But straightforward enough. Cool. I was going to queue up a couple more. Yeah, but what I was saying is we could pull basic solid rocket engines down, right? Like if we do that... Oh no, but I still want to do early science up here. Yeah. Materials science, basic rocketry, basic solid rocket engines. 56 to 57 solid rocket engines, and then material science, and then it'll be the things that are gated after this material science node come after it. Just because I don't think I'm going to use this basic solid rocket engines node immediately. But I will definitely end up using 56 to 57 solids, right? This is where we start to get... avionics tech is what we still require for the ICBM shot. Yep, that is correct. That's why I'm making sure that's higher. Yeah, avionics tech, and then science tech for the advanced biocapsule, and then materials and engine upgrades to hopefully hit the longer ICBM shot without having to change our architecture too much. And then we get the solids that'll give me the upper stage kick motors that I want for orbital insertions. And then we're getting into satellite era tech, and I haven't thought that far ahead. So really all I've done is I've pushed basic solids down after basic rocketry. So I do want to launch 2 more wax. Yeah, so one of them can launch as is. And this is for the altitude sounding rocket contract. And then one of them needs to... I probably need to stretch this tank. Yeah, I do need to stretch this tank. But that's fine. Yeah, you need 115. And that'll be for the higher weight biosample mission. Make sure that I name them differently, so I... Ooh. Thank you. Launch that. Okay. So those should be for the 2 sounding rocket missions that we have there. Again, altitude sounding difficult, 750 units payload to 130. And bio 115 up to 140 kilometers. Cool. And that gets us part of the way to... Alright, I can hire more researchers again, and I know I'm going to regret this, but... Got to keep pulling those research times in. All right, so this one is the V23, so we want to be flying low space film return. Second contract. We already tested this in the sim, so we know that it has the right flight profile. Ugh. All right, well, this does its thing. What the heck? Okay. Engine shut down. What's this thing called? Well, it's staged, but the engine didn't start. Okay. Did I mess up this script somehow? Wait until engine thrust is greater than engine max thrust. Is the engine not tagged? It's tagged engine. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Well, at any rate, we're going back to the Space Center. I'm going to scrap this one and we're going into the simulator, because this is the second time that this has gotten messed up on me. Oh, wrong button. Okay, well, for one thing, how did this get saved in this state? All right, and I know that sometimes if this got saved in a state from when I rolled it back and tried to modify it, things can sometimes get saved in funky states when they've been rolled back. So I'm going to reset the engine with a new one. Avionics I shouldn't have to reset. Set up our staging correctly. And let's just sim this. Added some test prints to it. Let's see what we get. Whoop, well. Index was out of range. Oh, I didn't retag the engine after I replaced it. That was my fault. Okay. Yeah. Ignition. Now it's just working. Okay. I am gonna say that what happened is that somehow it must have been... What can happen when you roll things back is that part modules can get left in weird, inconsistent states sometimes. And I think just doing a clean rebuild and resaving it from the VAB is probably what needed to happen. Alright, cool, it's working now. Which means that if we build this, this one should actually work. There's 2 of these now that we didn't fly, which I'm not thrilled about. I mean, we have other contracts happening in the interim, and we're waiting for research, so it's not like the end of the world. But still would have been nice to not be messing around with it. All right. And that is fine. Yeah, we've still got plenty of time. And I should be able to hire more researchers again. Let's check. Yeah, we're making plenty of money. Cool. And don't forget to do my contract before I open the vessel, otherwise we're going to have a bad time. Low space, biological... No, we want intermediate sounding for this one. This is the one with 75 payload. And warped morning. Okay, this should work. And while this is launching, I'm going to go grab a little bit more water. So enjoy the flight. Okay. Let's look at that contract. Oh, there it goes. 80 kilometers with 75 units of payload. Perfect. Oh, did we have a engine issue? No. Huh. That apoapsis looks low for this. I thought it was getting over 200. Another, 4-ish science, too, which isn't bad. And there it goes. Only had to click it twice. It's always the worst part of splashdowns is the wet science. Yeah. No, the worst part of splashdowns is the bobbing will often turn off the recovery when you're trying to hit the recover button because the velocity isn't below the epsilon, and it's always a little bit annoying. Cool. And let's check our funding. We're still good, so let's hire more researchers again. Oh, and the other one's done too. Okay. Oh, I can't roll them both out, right? Can I? Woohoo! Oh, because they're different launch pads. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so we're gonna do the V23 first. So that is low space film return. We're finally gonna get this darned contract done. I'm so happy. And that looks good. We hit... 140. There we go. It's fine. The scientists will be able to analyze the blur patterns to understand how the rocket tumbles when it's in space. Yep, and this is what I was talking about with sometimes... There we go. All right. Got a little more science. Done, done, done. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, satellite era electronics will be nice. Only for the avionics upgrades. I'm going to keep in queuing. I don't think I actually need 58 solids yet. Well, maybe for the Pioneer adjustment motor, but I mean, if this is dated 58, then it's kind of ahead of our curve, and we want to be grabbing satellite era so we can get the 56 to 57 stuff. We don't need lunar range comms yet. Really, I think it's just early avionics. So that's 17 science between the two of these. I could probably get to... if I was flying the rocket myself, or tuning MechJeb to do it, and I really felt like cavemanning, you can get to orbit with the, 52 to 55 nodes of everything, but... getting the right era of everything helps a lot, and especially since I'm writing my own launch scripts in KOS. What are we at? 1954, 926. It's currently June, so 3 more months for that one. I didn't take the damn contract. Well, okay, we're just getting some science off of this launch, and we'll do it again with the contract. It's fine. There's still plenty of science to get from biological samples, space low, yeah. we've only done like a third of the space low science, so we'll get an extra launch in, we'll get a little more science, it's not the end of the world. We have time to kill before avionics prototypes anyway. This isn't going to get a lot of the science from space low, just because with the extra sounding payload, we're not spending as much time in space low. But we'll get some. Yeah. 2.5 science. I'll take that. And I need to re-enqueue one of these and remember to take the contract. It's a good thing these only take a couple of weeks to build. But I'm plenty far ahead of the curve, I think, on when these programs expire on me. So I'm not too worried about wrapping them up. More bio soup, indeed. All right, let's get another one of those queued up and try to remember to take the contract this time. And then, how long has it been since I've done this? 40 days? This is the other thing that I could try to do. And I guess these are worth quite a bit of reputation. Maybe it is worth trying to do a downrange one. But that's just a new rocket that I have to design that meets these requirements. And I've been trying to, well, you know what? Let's see if I can do it. If I can do it with a just replacing the here. Let's open B23. Let's take this off the top. Let's do tanks. Nose cone tank. Conventional structure. 1.25 meters. You are high pressure aluminum. You need sounding payload. 500. That's a V23S for a sounding payload instead of the previous payload. Oh, we have so many options. I think we'll stick to this one. And let's see if in the sim, if this hits that 240, this should easily hit 240 kilometers downrange. I have no idea why it wouldn't. Considering this hits 600 kilometers with the camera on it. Although I don't know exactly how much heavier all this sounding payload is compared to the camera. But I think we're at the tech level now where these missions should be relatively straightforward for us. Yeah, okay, 500 units of sounding payload is a heavy payload for this rocket. It's barely getting up there. But that apoapsis looks good. Question is the downrange. Yeah, this is going to be no problem. Oh, not quite 140. There we go. Yep. No issues. Okay. Let's get one of these queued up then so we can do that downrange contract, because that's just a heap of reputation, and reputation is money. I probably need to tool that. Yep. And I can't afford to tool it right now. Do I care? If I only am going to launch one of these rockets, just to do that contract once, do I care? You know? Net salary plus the launch costs plus the cost of actually launching the thing costs about as much as the tooling cost. Who would have thought? Okay. 500 plus 2,400 is 29. Yeah, 3,000 versus the 6,000 to tool it. Okay. So it's worth tooling if I fly it twice, which I guess makes sense. Do I think I'm going to fly this twice? I might fly it again. That contract will come up again. How much do I need? 5,700. Okay. I'll save up the money and tool it. I'll play the game right. $27 days. 1954, 7/25. What's today? Yes, warp. That's before this This rocket is done, is what I was comparing. Making sure that I would have the time. But now, we can tool this. Tool, yes. And do it. Oh, I forgot. Tooling uses from my my hidden subsidy for unlock costs. I forgot about that. I didn't have to skip ahead. I mean, it's fine. It's not like I have other missions that are waiting on... Did I not just hit launch? Did I have the wrong... Oh, I probably had the wrong launch complex selected, so it didn't actually enqueue it. Yep. There we go. And can I afford to hire more researchers? Probably. Wouldn't want to do many more than that, I don't think. But we're at 100. Oh, and look at that. We finished avionics prototypes like a week after the V23S done. So that really is just in time to finish up some of these other contracts we need. Take the contract, Brandon. Yeah, this is the boring part of RP-1, for sure, where I'm just kind of pushing through, getting contracts done. But we're close to the tech we need for the downrange rocket, for the ICBM. And then... hopefully... Ooh. Something I need to double check is whether when we modify the launch complex for that new rocket, are we going to run into issues with the minimum size for the advanced biocapsule rocket? I didn't even think about that. Because the two-stage rocket is so much taller. But I guess we will find out. I will double check those constraints when I go back into the VAB. And yes, just need to return home safely for this contract. It's really impressive how many flights I've been able to make off of basically just 2 scripts. Like... Even the downrange script is very minimally modified from the existing V2 script. All right, and that should be enough science for this thing now. Get that started. Then we'll want early avionics on top of that. Yeah, this gets us a bunch of stuff. I agree. I haven't quite... I mean, I do have it in version control, but that version control right now is do a commit at the end of the stream, which is not exactly super helpful. But we'll see. I mean, ultimately what I want to be moving towards is... Yeah. I mean, I should be moving more of sort of each of these bits and pieces into functions, right? Like, target pitch should be something that I can actually do, like, you know, target pitch of this in the rocket script, and then have that come from a library file, but I'm just not doing that right now. So that's what I need to do, is I need to be thinking about splitting these things into reusable functions, and then I can have per launch or per rocket scripts that reuse those chunks. But I just haven't gotten to the point where it's that complex yet, and copying and pasting and... Yeah, at this stage, it's not necessary. I think I can turn off... I think I could dismantle Launch Complex 1. I don't think I have any need for it at the moment. That's Launch Complex 2. For the bigger rockets. LC1 is just for the Aero-B type rockets. And I just did my last, what should be my last launch with one of those. Because I've finished all the bio contracts. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, what I wanted to check, though, was modifying Launch Complex 2 for the taller rocket, if that will mess up minimum sizes for the V2 bio. Yes. Okay. So this is height 12.3 meters. Okay. So let's go to catapult. If I modify LC2, height limit 18. Oh, it's just tonnage that has a minimum. There's no height minimum. Okay, cool. No issues then. We're well over this minimum tonnage of 11 here. Cool. We're going to be all set when we upgrade the launch complex for this then. No issues there. rollout. Oh, and take the contract. I almost missed that. 500 units of sounding payload. Cool. And this will get us... I mean, more subsidy. Almost a third more. A little more than a third more, so, or 50% more? A lot more. Because this contract is worth like 100 and some odd reputation, so... Unfortunately, no science from this mission, but that's okay. I think we are all set. Yeah, no problems. Beautiful. Perfect. Contract complete. That gives us, yeah, 350 reputation now? Does this not have... Oh, am I out of comms range? I might be out of comms range. I was just gonna hit range safety, but... guess we're waiting. All right, Launch Complex 2, I just need to modify now. For the downrange, the ICBM shot. I might also need to tool some of this thing. Yes. What am I tooling? 1.875 by 1. Procedural structure, the avionics. Yeah, okay. That is all expected. And unlock credit used for all of it, that's fine. Commonality is 70%. Cool, yeah. Alright, finish the launch complex 2. Now we can get that actually in queued for launch. And... Alright. And then we'll see how many more researchers we can hire to try to pull that science tech in a little bit, because that's pretty far in the future right now. Oh, one. Fire my 10 unassigned engineers, because they're taking up salary that I don't need them to take up right now. Okay, yeah, I can hire a bunch more researchers, even with this thing building the catapult right now. Cool. Let's get slightly further. That was too far. I was going to say slightly further into the day than first thing in the morning, so I can see a little better. Then I immediately warped too far. Here we go. All right, here it is. Our first 2-stage rock. Let's find out if revert to vehicle assembly does what I hope it does, which is take me to right before I hit that launch button. Hey, I think it did. Okay. I think we're good. This better work. All right, yes. New vessel. We're good. All right. This is the one that we spent so much time fiddling around with the script for. Yes, it is one of the rockets of all time. I mean, it's basically a bumper whack, which was actually a fairly important rocket, but Ah. There we go. Nice and smooth. I was fully expecting this to be the launch where I have, like, the first test flight failure in a dozen launches. But so far, everything's been relatively okay. This is also, I think, the first time we're using the Sasser 2 instead of the Sasser 1. I don't know if I talked about that. Did I talk about why I chose that engine? This is sort of an in-between version between the Wackier and the Wackier, where it uses the helium pressurant, which is lighter weight, so the overall system is a little bit more efficient. But the XASR engine has, even though it has lower thrust, it has a much higher ISP than the early AJ10. And for a second stage, ISP is what matters, right? Fuel efficiency. Because otherwise we have to lug all the extra weight of all the extra fuel. Our Apoaps is not fantastic compared to the sim. I'm worried we might not quite hit our 3K. Oh, nope, we're good. We're good! Just barely, but we're good. Oh, and we hit a bunch of speed records too, I'm sure. Altitude record, speed record, downrange milestone, 3 megameters. All right. Oh. Awesome. That is great. And that design working, again, we should be able to use basically the same script for the 5 megameter contract when we get there. At this point, it's kind of like, what launches do we want to do to fill the next... Oh my gosh, look at the time! 25th December, 1954. Merry flippin' Christmas, everybody. Hire some more researchers. Yeah, so the 5 megameter... Oh, also does have to carry a little bit of sounding payload as well. Okay. Minimum altitude of 140. So this is the capstone mission of early rocket development. And the other capstone we have, of course, is our first advanced biological experiment. Did I put sounding payload on this thing when I did my test? Okay. We might need to redesign that rocket. I'm actually going to write something down and, like, take a note at the end of this stream so I can remember what I need to do next time. Okay. Because I'm gonna call this the last launch of the stream, I think. But I want to take notes for next time. So we need to next time check advanced bio payload. Downrange distance LV, we can basically launch these, you know, every time it gets up to a reasonably high value and it's worth it for the reward. If we launch them too frequently, the reward is nothing, but it's repeatable. I mean, honestly, technically same with these, but their reward is so low that it's not really ever worth it. For downrange, 5 megameters, I don't know. We just need to design that rocket entirely. We'll get some of that for free out of tech upgrades, right? We're going to get this early materials science node, which is a year out right now, actually. That's frightening. And basic rocketry has an engine upgrade for us, which is also quite a ways out. You know, those would probably get us there, but we may also be able to do some shenanigans with, you know, multiple stages of aerobees, or, you know, depending how hard I feel like cavemaning this particular milestone. Yeah. And then once we launch the advanced biological capsule, I think this is enough that we can claim the satellite program once we complete this program. But again, if this needs 200 units of sounding payload, that rocket actually might not quite be enough. So I will have to double check that. And then we'll also unlock the repeatable contracts for the advanced bio here. Okay, and this is just a slightly faster minimum velocity. Okay. So we might want to just try to build for this capability. I'm going to note that down. Maybe build psi payload for 2,800 meters. Okay, so those are the two things. Next time to start with is getting 5 megameters, getting our science payload done. And after that, we're solidly into pushing towards orbit. An early satellite does give us these new downrange milestone contracts. These are intermediates. You know, if we can hit them as we unlock some tech, then we can hit them. Or if we just skip them and go right to satellite, then we can do that. These are totally optional, but I suspect I'm going to want to fly these just so I have, again, so I'm building up reputation for subsidy, and so that I'm, you know, there are opportunities to gather science or whatever else, right? So yeah, that's the plan for next time, is pushing towards orbit, and I think for now I'm happy with that 3 megameter launch being today's milestone. So yeah, thanks everybody who tuned in. It's really appreciated, and I will I'm doing these now regularly. This is officially on the schedule every Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel. But tomorrow is back into the breach on Pyanodon. So yeah, see you next time. Thanks for being my my rubber ducky starfighter. It's appreciated. And yeah, that is it for today.